Listen, me and the KORG Triton, we've become one. It's like Eddie Brock and the symbiote, Venom, like we've become one. And that's mostly because a lot of the songs that I grew up on in terms of R&B and hip hop have been produced with that thing. So browsing through the patches, I feel like a kid in a candy shop, and I've tasted every bit of candy already, but still it brings up so many good memories. So in this video, we're gonna make an early 2000s R&B beat with the KORG Triton, and bro, I am super proud of that beat, but y'all can decide for yourself if it's fire or not. Let's go. I think that of all the time periods, I think I look back at the early 2000s the most fondly, even though I'm absolutely fucking poetic when it comes to the early 90s and the late 90s. But, I was conscious. I was a teenager for the 2000s, so I was able to listen to the music and make memories to the music. So that's why I hold it in regard so highly, and that's why I look back upon it so fondly. But there's a certain kind of beat that came out in that time period that really lives rent free in my head. And if you want a song for reference, you can check out Act Like That by Tyrese. Absolutely legendary song. And people think that Tyrese is a joke, but the man was all that back in the day. You gotta give him his props, you feel me? Either way, we're going to be making or breaking down a beat in the similar style to that using the KORG Triton VST. So let's quit talking. Let's jump into FL. All right, boom, beauties and cuties. Welcome back into FL Studio. It's a beautiful day to break down this early 2000s type beat, which, listening to it could be a good fit for Tyrese, but I'm more thinking of Joe, actually. So I'm rocking with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9. It's the 10 crack commandments. I'm sorry. I'm rocking with 9 instances of the KORG Triton, and they're each playing a different role. I've got synth leads, strings for the hook. I got that famous strato chime patch, which is this patch right here. Y'all know that's from your favorite Neptune songs, of course. Piano, string pad, regular strings, and a triton that's just playing a little bit of a wind chime. So that's basically what I'm rocking with. And I'm rocking with some drums also from the KORG Triton. So that's what I'm rocking with. You can see in the playlist I'm using a lot of layers, but we're gonna take our time breaking them down. Y'all worry about that. So first things first, there's a chord progression that we gotta break down. I've written this chord progression in the key of F minor, and it's a really simple chord progression actually. I am playing my 6th degree, which is a C sharp major 7 chord. Let me just de-invert this. You can see it here, an inverted C sharp major 7 chord. I'm playing my 6th degree twice in unison, so I'm repeating it. I'm playing it right after each other, and then I am going to my 5th degree, which is a C minor 7 chord right here, but I've also inverted it. I've practically inverted every chord that I'm using in this chord progression. Now I am playing that C minor 7 chord in unison, but I inverted it. So this is actually I kind of forgot when to call it a first and a second inversion, but that's something that you definitely should Google, because there is a difference in which notes you invert and how to call it, and in terms of notation and stuff like that. But what you want to know is I'm using my 6th degree twice, so a C sharp major 7 chord. I'm using my 5th degree twice, a C minor 7 chord right here, and then I goes nicely onto our chord based on our root note of the scale of the key, which is an F minor 7 chord right here. So basically it goes 6-5-1 vanilla chord progression, your bread and butter for R&B. And here I kind of repeat that chord progression. I add in a diminished 7 chord right here. So when you look at the playlist, you can see that I did quite some layering with a strato chime patch and a string patch, both from the KORG Triton. Let me just pull them up for you. The strato chime, you know that from your favorite Neptune songs. Like that, I actually used it in a video, which you can see right here, how to make an early 2000s Neptune type beat. Go and check it out. And I went for a string patch because strings were actually very prominently used in the early 2000s R&B. I think up until 2007, that's when they slowly started being phased out, but you can still hear them back in contemporary R&B, especially in outros. So piano, the strato chime, and the string. So this is what my sample is sounding like right now. So at this point, I had my tempo comfortably set at 120 BPM, and I had a simple drum beat consisting of, well, it's actually, I think, the most live sounding drums that I've used in a beat in a while is actually just, let me just play all the drum beats. So super basic, super simple, quintessential early 2000s R&B drum beat. Just kick, snare, kick, snare, just like that. The hats on the one and the free, basically no eighth notes, just quarter notes basically. And I decided to supplement that with a nice little bass patch from the Scarby Rickenbacker bass in Native Instruments. And if I take out the pattern here, you can see that I'm relying heavily on those little hammer-ons, which I made artificially. You know, you can read them as grace notes. I like to pretend that they're hammer-ons, but your mileage may vary. But this is what it sounds like with the bass. But I wasn't done yet. Yeah, I actually unmuted everything. But you know, I'm gonna introduce these elements too. So in order to give it that really, you know, a typical early 2000s R&B sheen, I had to add a certain kind of perk, and that's this perk right here. Now you may remember from my Dark Child video where I made a beat in the style of The Boy Is Mine that this perk is absolutely important, and I think that these are all sounds from the KORG Triton, right? So I think you can find them in the orchestra / ethnic drum kit that they have. So basically you go to browse, you have to set it to category, you go to drums, and I think that is in either the orchestra and ethnic kit or one of the other kits that you can find it in. But like I said in the beginning, so many sounds have been used in so many of my favorite R&B songs. It's ridiculous. So that's my drum beat. Basically, I basically played that little perk in the form of some rolls. Let me just play the entire drum beat so y'all can get an idea of what is. To top it off, of course, I went back into the KORG Triton. I took out this little patch right here from the jazz / brush kits, and it's that wind chime that you may recognize if you're a 90s kid like me. I mean, you've listened to a lot of early 2000s R&B, or especially when rappers had tracks on their album where they were kind of spitting for the ladies or going for more emotional stuff like that. I know Cassidy has a song that features this chime a lot, and you know, it's a pretty famous sound. Now, content as I would have been with just playing a chord progression over and over and trying to get away with it, I felt like I had the obligation to my people to add some more melodic elements. So I added a sine lead, which features the smooth the sine switcher patch actually in the KORG Triton, and I have a piano melody right here, which is kind of more like a supplement to the chord progression. So I'm gonna play this pattern here just to show y'all what I've been doing. Hold on, let me pull up the patch first. I call it a clav piano because it sounds like a clav piano to me, but it's actually the bright 12 string patch and Triton, which, you know, I have an opinion on that, but so that's simply try to keep it in mind, because I actually went ahead and I took out another patch, which is the third one, which is the mini lead, which, you know, has a kind of real distorted effect, which I thought was cool to layer that smooth synth lead with. And in the other pattern, I actually took out a piano patch. I think it's very reminiscent of a piano patch, the 80s piano lead, which sounds like this. Hold on, let me just pull the pattern for y'all. So, enough about that. I am still saying that if you really want to capture any vibe of any early of any form of R&B in the decades before, you got to add a bridge to your beat, and that's exactly what I did. And I just want to really go in depth about the bridges now. So the way that I like to construct bridges in my R&B beats is basically stay in the same key. You can modulate, and modulation will make your bridges even sweeter. It's a cool technique to apply, but you don't have to. There's basically enough chord progressions you can make in the key that you're working with alone. So I don't particularly feel the need to, but you can, because it opens up so many more possibilities. But say you want to stay in the same key, right? Well, basically what you need to do is listen very closely to the ending stretch of the first chord progression that you're working with, because it has to tie in nicely into the chord progression you're switching over to for your bridge. So let me give you all an example. What I'm rocking with here is an inverted C minor 7 chord, goes to a G diminished 7 chord right here, and I'm rocking again with an inverted C minor 7 chord, but I've got the A as my root. I've got my fifth as my root. So I need to find a chord that it can transition to really nicely, so that it doesn't sound like it's broken up, but it sounds like a logical transition. And I found solace in using this A minor 9th chord right here, which sounds like this. Let me play it for y'all. Boom. So that's how you get them to connect. That's how you get them to just really transition nicely into each other. You need to find a chord that the last chord of your chord progression can easily just tie into. It doesn't have to resolve to that, but it's good if it really resolves to that, because that really works in your favor. But you know, you have it just needs to sound super sweet. And once you have that chord, really, it is my opinion that everything after that is super easy. You just need to find a chord that really transitions back into that. And as we know, whatever key, whatever skill you're working with, there are two chords that you can always resolve to, that always sound good, and that is the first and the fifth. And by Jove, what do we got here? We've got a chord based on our first degree, which is an F minor 9th, and that goes back nicely into my 6th degree, a C sharp major 7, because the 1 and the 6, they go together so well, of course. And that's how you just, you know, you don't have to know how to really write a bridge in depth. You just have to know how to get started, and everything after that is going to come as easily as writing the first chord progression for your song. Believe that. Alright, beautiful folks, so that concludes the breakdown of this early 2000s R&B type beat. I think it will be a perfect fit for Joe, and as I said in the beginning of this video, this kind of beat just lives rent-free in my head. I hope y'all enjoyed the beat, I hope y'all enjoyed the breakdown, I hope y'all enjoyed me, and as per usual, I hope to see y'all back in the next video. Y'all be easy. Peace.